Sam Donaldson was there to discuss Lilian Carter, a very, very nice woman before her time, a civil rights leader before her time, who wasn't married to necessarily somebody who followed civil rights. It was President Carter's mother. But if you wanted to know the benevolence of Jim Carter, on why Jimmy Carter was the way he is, it's because of who his mother was. But something else happened at the end of the show that really was touching. Finally, I saw a break in patriarchy because of how this person responded when Donaldson asked the question. And when Mika Brzezinski, it was Mika Brzezinski's show, and I really enjoyed the respect that this guy had for her. So I want you to listen to this. And again, two good things. Lilian Carter, a wonderful woman, and the deferral of this man. Check this out.
Elise Jordan, you have the next question.
Sam, Elise Jordan here. I love that you are showcasing, such a strong Southern woman who obviously had great influence on her son. And I find her story fascinating because it's one thing for President Carter to have held evolved views on race and human rights, given the decades he lived in. But Miss Lilian was born in the turn of the century, deep South Georgia. What can you tell us about how her upbringing and background influenced her beliefs?
Just looking at her biography and all of that, in a small town of Archery, Georgia, what caused her to be a person who understood human rights and the civil rights of everybody in this country, I'm just not competent to tell you. All I know is that she did. And I know she infused her children with the same view. And Jimmy Carter would say the same thing if he were here today. God bless him. He's 98. He's doing well. She was the force in the life. Her husband, and Jimmy's father, was a man of the South. And he didn't have the same view as his wife did about all of this. But clearly she ran the family, at least from the standpoint of making the children.
Sam, it's Richard Haas. Good morning. Long time no talk. Here we are. We're talking about Russia invading a country. Well, that happened in 1979 with Afghanistan. We're talking about inflation being really high. We're talking about a president who doesn't seem to be bonding with the American people. You covered the Carter presidency. You're watching the Biden presidency. Are you struck by the similarities or the differences more? What's your take on it?
Well, more the differences. I think both men are decent men. Both men. You don't come to the presidency, as you know, Richard, as well as anyone, saying, I'm going to destroy it. Well, you don't do it consciously, at least. I may know of one exception. The point is, Biden's the man of the Senate. He thought conciliation, let's work together. That's the way we used to do it. He discovered this first year, no, that's not the way the Republicans are going to do it. If you come to a knife fight, Richard, in the alley, you better bring a bigger knife, not here's some salve for the wounds. In the case of other presidents, they've learned this. Nixon knew how to do it. And George Herbert Walker Bush also knew about Washington. And you got to know something about Washington. I think one of Jimmy Carter's problems was he thought he could just do it because he's president. He meant well. Well, that's not the way it works. And today, Richard, I want to ask you the question. What's happening in the Donbass? What's happening in the so-called non-invasion, which in fact obviously is an invasion? And how do we react?
Mika, do I have the right to answer that?
You go right ahead. What are we looking ahead to today, especially coming from the White House?
I thought that was so very respectful of that man. Donaldson got into his reporter way of being, and even though it's not his show, he went ahead and asked the question, and the other man just went ahead and said, Mika, is it okay for me to answer that question? Deferring to Mika, understanding the type of patriarchy that we have, that in the long run, you always have men come onto these shows, and in as much as it's a woman's running the show, they want to take over. I just found that refreshing. I don't know how many people kind of noticed that, but for me, it was like, while Donaldson was asking the question, in my mind, I was saying, my God, Donaldson, that is Mika's show. She's doing the questioning, not you. Have some respect, is what I was saying. And to just have him defer to her was very, very inspiring. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.